What's up, guys? It's Kene once again, and today I shall be discussing tuples in Python. Now, a tuple, okay, let me just share my screen, guys. A tuple, I would say, is a kind of container, but this container can hold a single value, and then it can also hold two or more values, right? Unlike a typical variable that will just hold a value, something like my var, right? My variable, which I would give a value of 5, right? So this is the typical variable, right? But what if I wanted this same variable to hold a collection of data instead of a single piece of data? I can use a tuple. Now, the difference between a tuple in terms of the structure, the difference between a tuple and a list is that values in a list, as we saw in the last video, those values are enclosed in square brackets, but values in a tuple are enclosed in round brackets. That's the parentheses. So I'm simply going to do this. And then, okay, so I have 6, 9, 10, I mean 6, 8, 9. That's a tuple, guys. I have just created a tuple. Do you understand? Right. So let's see what it is. So I'm going to print. Now, I'm not going to print the tuple. I'm going to check and print what type of data it is. So what type of data is that variable? And I would simply use the type method and have my var as the argument. And let me print, guys. So here we see that a variable is of type tuple. I hope you understand. Okay, now guys, what if I had just a single value in that what should be a tuple, right? So 6, for example, stored in my var, and the 6 comes within round brackets. What type of variable would that be? That's of type int. But shouldn't that be a tuple? Yes, it should be, right? So how do I make it a tuple actually? Please, guys, just use a comma. I don't know what that is for, but that's how it should be used. Just you have a single value in what should be a tuple. Please let it end with the comma that is within the parentheses. So if I run this time, I'll see that it's now a tuple. Do we see, guys? Okay, so that's it. That's how we create tuples. Now, what about the features? The features of tuples in Python. Now, the first thing is that the values or elements are ordered. So this at position 0, at position 1, at position 3, I mean 2, at position 3. So the position is quite different from the value at that position. The values are ordered, right? That's the first thing, okay? Now, how do I get the value at, say, specified positions? I'll take the tuple m2 this time, right? Just as I would for a list, I would indicate what the index is there that I wish to use. So index 2, so this is like index 0, index 1, and index 2. So that should be 3, right? m2 at position 2. What value should be returned? So I have this there. Print the value. So I see that 3 is printed. What if I want to get a range of values within the tuple? So suppose I wanted to get 1, 2, and 3. So I will use the colon, the slice method there. So that will just be position 0. Sorry, guys. Position 0. And then ends at position 3. Now, if I have position 3 here, it means that that value at position 3 will not be included. So this is position 0, position 1, position 2, position 3. Position 3, that's value 4. So 4 will not be added to what will be obtained, right? So let's see, guys. So I have 1, 2, and 3. Now, if I'm starting from the beginning, that's at position 0, I don't need to use the 0 there. Python should still understand what I'm asking for, right? Okay, so that's it, guys. All right, so that's how we can access members of a tuple. Okay, right. So, guys, the first thing in terms of the features of the tuple is that the values are ordered. Now, the second thing, guys, the second thing is that the values in a tuple cannot be altered. You can't alter the values. You can't change. In other words, you can't update the values in the tuple. Now, let's see, guys, what I'm going to do here. M top 3 at position 0. I want to change that to, instead of Ada, it should be Ben. Okay, so once that's changed now, I'll try to print that tuple M to 3. Now, what do we get there? Tuple object does not support item assignment. So I can't reassign the value, like I can't reassign a value to what is found already at a given index. No, that's not possible. But that can be achieved. That is changing the value at a specified index. We can actually do that. How about we convert the tuple to a list, alter the value at that index, and then convert the list back to a tuple. Let's see how that goes, guys. So I'll take a list constructor as to construct the list and give it the tuple as an argument, the mtube3. So it's now a list, right? Now, it is a list. I'm going to now get the index, the value at index 0. So that's Ada. Then, guys, please watch. I will now make Ada Ben, right? And then having done that now, having changed the value, I will now convert that list back to a tuple. So I'm going to convert this. I'm going to convert this back to a tuple. So what, guys? It might seem kind of confusing. So with that list now, I'm going to change it back to a tuple using a tuple constructor. All right. So guys, let's see. All right. Ada. Oh, that doesn't really change. So I'm going to get a list there. mtube3. Let me assign it to this mtube3, which is like a tuple here. So I'm changing that tuple to a list using that same tuple, right? I'm changing it to a list. Then I can now mtube3 at position 0. What I have there, change it to Ben. Okay, so that's changed to Ben, right? Then I can now convert this list stored in mtube3. I can now convert it back to a tuple. So I'm using tuple constructor. And then mtube3. So guys, let's see what that gives us. Yeah, so that's correct, guys. We see that the tuple is now, beginning with Ben instead of Ada. So that's how you can change the values within a tuple. Use that tuple, convert it to a list. Now assign the list to that variable that once held the tuple. Then I can now do whatever I want to do with it because it's now a list, right? So I'll change the value at index 0, change it to Ben. And then using that same list, I would convert it back to a tuple. That's how you can actually change the value within a tuple, right? All right, guys, so that's that about changing values. What if I wanted to add values like to a tuple? How do I do that? So, guys, as of this time, like here, M3 is a list. And because it's a list, I can append. I can add something at the end of that list. So I'll use the append method, which would not be possible if it were a tuple, actually. So I would convert, that's why I converted it to a list. Then I can append Lacon to this list, M3, and then convert the M3 back to a tuple. So we'll see that the last item there would be Lacon. So let's see, guys. So we can see that that tuple ends with Lacon. So that's how you can, add values to a tuple. Right, now, guys, I wish to add a tuple to a tuple. Add a tuple to a tuple. Let's see how that goes. I'm going to use the cumulative addition operation there. How? I want to add M2 to M3. So all of M3 will be displayed, and that will be followed by these numbers here. So let's see, guys. M3. That's tuple there, M3. All the values within it should still be what? Retained. Then I'm going to add the values in M2. You understand? So that's why I have this plus symbol here. So M2. If I did not have this plus, if I had just this, it would simply mean that this M3 will no longer hold these values at dark, ray, color. No, M3 will now hold the values currently held by M2. So let's even see, guys, if that is the case. M2, M3. Now, what does it say? We declared M3 defined above without usage. So what am I going to do now? I am going to print. So let me just leave this out. I'm going to print M3. And let's see, guys, what that gives us. So we see that I should actually have Ada Ray in M3, but I have the numbers. So you just put the values in M2 into M3. That's why we need to use this cumulative addition operator. So when I print M3, we'll see that its original values are retained and then the new values are appended. So we see, guys, so that's it. That's how we add a tuple to a tuple, right? Now, there's another way to go about it. What if I wanted to add a tuple to a tuple without using the concatenation, the cumulative addition operator, right? I can simply have M3, what is there, added to what is in M2. Then everything that is returned should be put in M3. So let's see what that gives us. So it's the same thing, right, guys? The same thing. Okay, so that's that about adding tuples to tuples. What if I wanted to delete? Now, can I delete a value from a tuple? That cannot be done. You cannot remove. Once you've created a tuple, you can't remove parts of it. So that's out, guys. But you can destroy the entire tuple. You can destroy the entire tuple. So that requires the use of the del keyword. So del m tuple3. So m tuple3 has been destroyed. M tuple3 destroyed here, right? So if I try to print that, we'll see what we get. Name M tuple3 is not defined, but I who said that I did not define M tuple3. I defined M tuple3 here. Yeah, I did that, but I afterwards destroyed it, and that's why as of this point now, it doesn't exist. So that's how you completely destroy a tuple. Right. So now the next, guys, is looping. I wish to loop through elements within a tuple, right? The members of a tuple. Okay, so how do I do that? I'll use a for loop, right? That's something I can do, right? Use a for loop, a for loop rather, for I in using the membership operator, I in M tuple3, just as easy as that. So I can loop through tuples. Then I would print I, whatever is the value of I would see. Yeah, so it goes through each of those elements and prints it out. Okay, so guys, just to let's go back a bit. Remember, if you look at this M tube here, you see that there are different data types as members. So I just forgot to mention that a tuple can hold different types of data. That's just it. So if I print M tube, let's say this is M tube here. If I print each of the members, we'll see. So we see that it's possible to have a tuple of different data types. Okay, so that's it, guys. That's how you loop through a tuple. But talking about loop, and getting members of that tuple, can I use a list, right, to get the members in reverse order? Can I use a loop to get the members of a tuple in reverse order? Now, this is the actual order, right? Going from beginning to end. What if I wanted to move from the end to the beginning? How do I do that, guys? So watch, guys. I'm simply going to do this. I'm going to use the enumerate. I'll call the method enumerate and give it the tuple as an argument, right? And if I print, sure, definitely I'm still going to have the same thing, but you notice that it provides the index along with the value. So I could have I as the index this time and J as the value. Now I just need the value alone, just the value. So that will just be what? J. And if I print this again, I see that only the values are returned. Okay, so that's the thing about the enumerate method. It creates tuples holding the index and the value. So like a pair, within a tuple, you have the index and the value, the index and the value, and that's, as it loops, it prints out the index and the value at that index. But if you want to grab just maybe the value alone, you could just have this this syntax here, right? Okay, So that's it, guys. Now remember, the problem that we wish to solve here is that we are to what? Print the members of the tuple in reverse order. So I've simply just created an enumerate an enumerate object. The next I'm going to do is now to convert it to a list. Now, with the object created, the enumerate object, I will convert that to a list. Now, nothing has yet happened. It's now just going to be, guys, watch, the same thing, right? Just the values. But because it's a list now, I can do something. There is a list method, something I can use, with list called reversed, which is reverse the order of the members of a list. So I'm going to use the reversed method there, reversed, and everything within the reversed. Then we shall see that it will go from end to beginning. So we see that instead of beginning with Ada, it now begins with Ifi, which is the last element there. So that's how you can do this in reverse order, right? But guys, I can also do the same thing this time. Sorry, to take us away from loops. I know we should be talking about loops here. What if I don't want to use a loop? I just want to reverse the order of the tuple, members of the tuple. Get it, guys. Right. So I'm going to get my tuple, mtuple. Okay, let me just take this off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So let me use mtuple2, right? And change that to a list, mtuple2, called the list constructor. Guys, I need to mention something. I'm changing a tuple to a list. So you need to be aware of that, so that in case you need to use the tuple later, don't forget that you changed it to a list. So it's no longer, it's no longer a tuple. So I think another thing you can do is to just create a new variable so that we're not changing the tuple permanently. Do you understand? So I'm going to use mtuple4 and make mtuple2 a list. So I've converted mtuple2, which is like a tuple, to a list. Then because mtuple4 is now a list, I can now use the slice stuff there, right? So I can simply have say grab say 1, 1, 2, 3, right? So I'll print that and we'll see what we have there. So we see position 1, 2, and position 2 is 3. That's why we have this. Okay, so let me just take this off without printing, so it doesn't get confusing. All right, so what does it say? Indentation error. I think I should just take this off completely. All right, so that's it, guys. It grabs 2 values from the tuple. Okay. All right. So this is not what I want. I don't just want to grab values. I want to reverse the order. So to do that, guys, just watch. It seems like magic, but it does the job. Colon with a negative index. What this does is it starts from the end to the beginning and takes everything. So saying, okay, start from the end. That's why I have the -1. Okay. So let's see. Yeah, but I don't want a list. I want my tuple back. So what I can do is this, guys. M tube 3, I mean M tube 2, and then assign it this new value. So this list here will be reassigned to M tube 2, but I want a tuple. I'm going to use the tuple constructor, just like that. So I can now print. So guys, please, whenever you now have to use this M tube 2, you can't have 1, 2, 3 anymore. It's now going to be 7, 6, 5. Bear that in mind because you have altered this tuple, M tube 2. So let's see now. I'm going to print M tube 2. And then we'll see what that gives us. We see that it's a tuple and then it starts from 7 to 1. Okay, so that's that, guys, about working with tuples. Now I was talking about loops, right? And we saw how you can loop through the elements in a tuple using the for loop. I can also use the while loop. Let's look at the while, guys. While I is say greater than the len. I can use the len method with the tuple M tube 3. So while it is less, so I need to set the value of I. I should be starting at 0. So print. So I'm going to print M tube 3 at what position now? That index, the current index, which is held by I, it is held in I rather, okay? Then I mustn't forget, so that I don't create an eternal loop, an endless loop. I need to increment the value of I by 1. So at some point, I will no longer be less than the length of M tube 3. The length there gives us the number of say members, the number of members in the tuple. Okay, so let's see, guys. So we see it goes from Ada, blah 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 blah, down to Ife. Okay, so that's it, guys. That's how you use tuples with loops. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is the count, which is a method. The count method. Now, we use the count to get the number of times, just like using a list, right? The number of times a particular value occurs in a tuple. Okay, so I'm just going to do M. So let me say I have 2 again here and 2 again. So 2 occurs 1, 2, 3 times. All right, so in M tube 2, I'm going to use M tube 2 dot count. So what do I want to count? I want to count, not a string. I want to count 2. Okay, so let's see what that returns. Print that. Okay, so let's see how many times 2 occurs. 2 occurs 3 times. You can see, guys, that is 1 and 2 and 3 times. So that's how we use the count method. Now, apart from the count method, we can also use the index method, with tuples. So what does the index method do? And the index method gets you the position of the first occurrence of a value. So at what position does a value first occur? That's what the index will get. So so I have 2 and 2 and 2. So where does 2 occur first? At what position? I'm going to just simply use the index here. Index, and I want to get the first occurrence of 2, which is here, guys, going from 0. The index goes from 0 to 1. So I should have 1 returned. So we'll see that that's correct. The first occurrence of 2 in M2 is at position 1. You know, I'm going from 0 to 1 here. Okay, so that's how to, I hope you understand, guys. That's how to use the index. And lastly, I'm going to use the sort. But you see, guys, that there's a difference between the sort as we know it for list and sort for tuples. Now, I'm going to sort. I'm going to, it's in place, M tube 2 dot sort. Okay, so now print M tube 2. We'll see that there will be a problem. Now, it says tuple object has no attribute sort. So what's the problem? What if I converted M2 to a list before calling the sort method? So using the list constructor, I'll change M2 to a list. Then I can now call the sort method, right? Okay, so let's see. No sorting took place. That's because it sorted the list and not the tuple. So that's a problem, right? It's a problem. Isn't there a way to sort a tuple? Like an inbuilt method or something that the developer can use? Yeah, no problem, guys. There is the sorted method. Sorted. Now let's see, guys. So the sorted can now take a tuple, right? So I'll provide the tuple M cube 3, right? M cube 3. That's just what it is. And it returns the new or the sorted tuple, which I can now store. So I'll say new tuple, which has been sorted, right? So I can now print new tuple. Okay, so let's see what that gives us. Yeah, so we see Ada, Ego, Emmy, Ife, and so on and so forth. But what if I wanted to go from, like, here I have ascending order, ascending. What if I wanted descending order? So there's an argument there, a named argument called reverse. I will set reverse to true. So it comes in reverse order, sorted in reverse order. So that's now R to A instead of A to R. I hope you understand, guys, how to use the sorted method. Now, guys, I wish to, what if I wish to sort? Let me remove this reverse or set it to false now. I'm going to point out something, guys. Now let's take a look at John and Kola. Here, we see that they have something in common. The second character in each of them is O, right? So I want to sort by the second character, not the first. So I'm not going to bother myself with what A or E here is or this E here. Instead, I want to sort by the second character. So D before G, before, in that order, in ascending order. of the second character this time. So how do I do that? I'm going to use the operator module. So let me just uncomment that. This here, the operator module. I wouldn't be needing this, so let me take it off. Then from the operator module, I will import the item getter, method here, right? The item getter. And how do I use it? I want to sort, guys, by the second character in each of the items. Okay, so I will come here and simply set the value of the key to item getter and simply give the index that you want to use to sort. So I would say index 1. The index starts from 0. So what it's going to do is that it's going to look at D and A and O and M and sort them by that character, the second character. So now let's see, guys. So let's look at it together. It starts with R, right? Remember, I'm not sorting by the first character. I'm sorting by the second character. So in ascending order, A, then D, then F, then G, then M, Now, these two have the same character, in the second position, O and O. So how should I sort that? This color and how do I sort the two of them, color and John, so that they are in ascending order? Because as it stands now, L should not come before H. I need to have H before L. So that's a problem. I want to sort the two of them. So I need to now go to the third index. That is the index 3 here. The index 2. Index 2 here, which is like the third letter, L and H in each of them here. So I'm going to say, okay, sort by index 1, which is like the second position, and sort by index 2, which is the third position. And that's what it's going to do. So if I run my program again, it will no longer be color before John. It will now be John before color. So that's it, guys. You see that H now comes before L. I hope you understand, guys. So thank you so much for watching. I would like us to please hit the subscribe button. Yeah, just support what I'm doing by hitting the subscribe button. And I will be giving us more lessons, coming up with more lessons to help us become very good at using Python. Thank you, guys. And please don't forget to find videos on my website, the www.tutor8.com.ng. All right. Thank you, guys. And precisely go to begin Python.php. All right. So see you guys. Do have a wonderful day. I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye.